I'll be honest with you. I know it shouldn't be about me, but what's the name of the show, right?
Well, it's the Rich Eisen Show.
I'm just feeling an old man. I'm an old man. I remember when he was, first came in the league in 2009. And now he's, after 13 remarkable years, and now joining us here on the Rich Eisen Show. I remember interviewing him before he's getting drafted. Ooh. Back in 2005, and he retired last year after 16 terrific years in the NFL. Now joining us here on the Rich Eisen Show, courtesy of UCAN. We'll talk about that with Alex Smith here on the program. How have you been, Alex Smith?
Rich, I'm doing awesome, man. How you doing? Long time no talk.
It has been that long. I thought it was me. I'll think again. I know it shouldn't be about me, but I thought, did I do something wrong, Alex? Did I do anything wrong?
You did not. Absolutely not. You know what? I feel like as you get older and you get playing, especially as a quarterback, and there's a lot of, obviously obligations and things you have to do.
Yes.
You do, for me, and as I had kids and family,
yes.
You get good at just kind of, when you can, kind of, disappearing into your privacy. And it has been too long.
It has been
good to be on the show. Good to be back.
How is it like to be around the fam? How's it like for you, Alex?
It's been amazing. Like I'm incredibly lucky. Like my kids are amazing ages. My boys are basically almost 11 and 9. My daughter's 6, and that was really kind of the impetus of me retiring last year. In a lot of ways, I'm even physically better than I was a year ago, but just your family ends up sacrificing so much for your career. We moved across the country. Obviously football, not just on a daily but an annually thing, kind of just dominates our calendar. It dictates everything, life as we know it. And, they'd sacrificed for that long. And so finally I felt like it was, it's time. It's time to be a dad, focus on them. They're in, obviously very impressionable ages, and be a husband. And so it was the right time. So I'm excited about it. Still trying to figure it out, though. If you got any suggestions.
Well, so you haven't had like that Brady moment. So you didn't have that Brady moment 6 weeks in saying, you know what, I can do this later on. I got to go back to playing football. You didn't have that. You didn't have that moment, Alex?
No, obviously not enough to act on it. It's funny. I feel like I could see him grappling with the same things. Here he is. He's done this for 22 years.
Right.
And same thing. His kids getting older, and they've all sacrificed a lot, and you could see him grappling with that in the end of this last season, and then obviously the whatever it was, couple weeks he was retired and then back. Because then also a chance that once it's gone, right? And he maybe he has one more year, and you don't ever want to look back with regret as well. So you do toil with all those factors and trying to make a decision. And I'm personally pumped he's coming back. We've just never seen anything like him in what he's doing, and then to still have a career year like he did last year was bananas on top of it. So selfishly, I'm excited to see him play one more year at least. So I think it's amazing for football, and again, it's just historic.
Yeah, think of it, Alex Smith. I mean, when you got drafted, it was just mere year 5 for Tom Brady. That was it.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like Benjamin Button. I mean, I've got a chance to be around him more and more. I'm like, not only from a football just playing perspective.
Yes.
We all have kind of arcs, and he certainly declines at the end. We've seen a lot of them. You look at Drew Brees and Big Ben at the end, these Hall of Fame careers that, Tom just in some ways I think he's better. I mean, he never was like a fleet of foot anyway, and he can still throw the ball all over the field. He's obviously incredibly smart. He takes care of his body. And then you get around him, and I'm like, he just his skin and his hair, like the guy just is a good defying time. So he's an anomaly, that's for sure.
So what do you I've got Alex Smith again here on the Rich Eisen Show. So did you get a call? I mean, you say you're feeling good. Did you get a call? I mean, because it just seems like anything goes right now at the quarterback position, regardless of who's on what team or anything like that. And YOLO shots are being taken all over the place. Did you get any phone calls to say, do you want to play?
No phone calls. I still talk to obviously a lot of coaches that I have great relationships with that are still coaching and around the league, and but no, it's that. I leave it at an arm's length. It's not something I'm thinking about at all. Loving taking on this kind of next chapter, trying to figure out what I'm doing next, and but no, I have fun. I have fun, running routes for my kids and playing catch with them, and that's the extent of my football these days.
Alex Smith here on the Rich Eisen Show. So how do you think Andy Reid is going to fix what happened last year offensively without Tyreek Hill now? How do you think that's going to work out in your former place of business, Alex?
Yeah, flat out, like you're not going to replace him. There's literally only one Tyreek Hill in the whole NFL. I mean, he is that kind of difference maker. I was fortunate enough to play my last 2 years there in Kansas City with him, and he honestly, when he's on the field, it just the defense plays differently. He opens up so many other players around him because everybody's so fearful. And there's a lot of fast guys in the league that are very, in the end, they're kind of one-dimensional. Tyreek is not that. I mean, we saw it throughout the playoffs, catch and run, catching the deep ball, put him back there, punt, kickoff, return, hand him the ball in the backfield. He's an incredible weapon, incredibly unique, and you're just not going to fill those shoes. And so there will be – I do think they won't be as dynamic on offense. This is the trade-off that I think Andy's thinking about, and Brett Beach as they're looking at it is, well, for that salary that they were potentially going to get him, and the draft picks that they got in return, can they go be better on the defensive side of the ball? I think they look back to, a few years ago is maybe they're going to be a little more balanced offense and defense. They're going to get draft picks in return. And then I also think this has kind of been Andy's MO his entire coaching career, is that rather than let you play out your contract and walk away for nothing, he's certainly going to try and get value for you while he can. And certainly, I was even a product of that, right? How many quarterbacks have we seen him do this with over the years where he does trade him and gets value back, and then he can go, they do a great job of developing talent. So they got all these picks for Tyreek. I know they were trying to get him re-signed because he is so special, but obviously the numbers just didn't quite make sense, and they decided to make this move. And it's bold. And again, they're not going to replace him on offense. You're just not going to find anybody. You're not going to find anybody in the draft out there in free agency that's going to fill those shoes. So they're going to have to adjust a little bit offensively. But I think the big question is maybe as a team, can they be better from it, right? That cap space, can they go get some other players maybe on the defensive side of the ball with those draft picks? Can they get some role players come in and help them this next year? I think that's the equation they're trying to make.
Right.
But it certainly won't be. They will not be as explosive as they have been on offense. Period. With Tyreek gone, you just can't. He's just that kind of player.
What words of advice, Alex Smith, would you have for Carson Wentz going to Washington now?
Oh man, it's tough. I think you got to try to eliminate the noise there. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of distractions. That entire organization, everything surrounding it, and obviously deservedly. It's been flawed the last 20 years. There's a lot of stuff going on there, a lot of distractions, and it makes it difficult to kind of focus in on the football. But I think Carson's kind of in. That's where he's at this point in his career. This is really kind of make or break. He's getting one more chance to kind of be the guy. This is a team that has been almost desperate to try and get a franchise quarterback these last few years. And can he be that? And so I think he's got to kind of go. He's got to lock in. He cannot, like I said, can't get distracted. This is an opportunity. He's got to go make the most of it. And I think it's going to be telling. Can he do that? Right? The Cowboys kind of ran away with that division. I think the Eagles are going to continue to be better. We'll see what happens up in New York. But yeah, can he go make the most of this kind of last opportunity to be the guy here? With all that going on. And I think that kind of pressure and situation usually does one of two things, right? It really does usually kind of make these guys toe the line and nail it down, or it's too much and they can't handle it. So we'll see. Again, they've had a ton of turmoil there. I know they're trying to settle it down. It still, I think, kind of remains to be seen if it's going to happen.
So I'm mandated to follow up on this, Alex. So you're saying whatever was going on in the front office was affecting your ability to play football and focus on?
Yeah, how could it not? How could it not? For me, all the stuff there with just the entire organization from ownership down, head coaching and GM. It's a lot of there's been historically a lot of drama there, and it's a big market. obviously the Capitol and a lot going on. And that organization is a really storied franchise. And there's a lot of turmoil and a lot of distractions. So to say that the stuff going on in the building doesn't infiltrate the locker room or out on the field would be crazy. That happens everywhere. I think that's what great organizations eliminate, and the bad ones have a hard time with. All that noise creeps into the building, and it does. It does affect the product on the field. So I think the great organizations and coaches have a knack to keep that out of the building, to quiet the noise, to decrease distractions and focus on football. But that's easier said than done.
Alex Smith here on the Rich Eisen Show. What's UCAN and how you became an investor in that? What's that, Alex Smith?
UCAN is this amazing product. I first started learning about UCAN and tried it, probably, I don't know, 6-7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at the back end of my career. And for me, I was always struggling on game days with food, with eating, with energy. You eat pregame meal. Honestly, you eat pregame meal, Rich, 4, sometimes 5 hours before a game.
Mm-hmm.
And then, then you're playing a 3.5, 4-hour game. And I would be in these third, fourth quarters and just you're exhausted. And the only thing that you have on sidelines a lot of time and in the locker rooms is all these sugar products, just a bunch of sugar. And, not loving what that did to my body. You're getting these spikes and crashes and obviously when you want to be able to focus when it matters most and not loving what those things did to me. And finally somebody gave me this and was like, here, try this. It's an amazing new product. And it had kind of been around in circles in the locker rooms and I loved it. It was a powder back then and just mixed it with water. And it has absolutely zero sugar. It's this amazing, sustained, smooth energy that allows you to keep your focus and productivity. It's just almost working with your body as opposed to against it. For me, just no crash. Also, how much better, decreased inflammation, how much better my joints felt when I had it. So I started using it on game days, kind of the back end of my career and loved how I felt on it. Loved my focus, loved the, sustained energy. And it's, I would kind of tell everybody about it, but I was just using it. I was a huge believer in it. And then, it's funny, as I've retired, I find myself using it even more. It's so easy on the go. I'm chasing my 3 kids around, trying to get them out the door in the morning, running them around to practices and activities. And it's so great to have on the go. Again, for me, loving being able to throw it in a shaker and go, and then again, throughout my recovery as well. When eating was really hard, when I was in the hospital, in a wheelchair, and I needed fuel to recover. I needed energy for all my PT sessions. I needed protein, all of that. UCAN was just this amazing product that really helped me throughout my recovery. So it's been amazing. I've kind of partnered with them here in post-career as I'm trying to figure out what that life's like. But this is something that I firmly believe in. I played, like I said, the back half of my career using and now retired, I feel like I use it even more. It's been an amazing product for me to use on my kids instead of handing them, a sugar sports drink or something that they think they need. Be able to give them something like this. It's just awesome all the way around. So pumped to be partnered with them, and try to help get the word out because I think it's an amazing product. It's an absolute game changer for me to be able to have something like this as a resource, on the go in my life. Whether I'm going and working out and training, because I still love to go do a lot. For a long time, I thought all that stuff was taken away from me. And so to be able to kind of have ability back, I go and do as much as I can. And so to be able to have this with me, and again, just kind of this long lasting energy and focus, to be able to keep my productivity, something that just kind of works with my body as opposed to against it. And so, yeah, it's an amazing product. I think we got some coming your way, Rich. So
okay.
I highly recommend giving it a try.
All right, Alex, if it's free, it's me. That's why I got in this business. And on top of it, I do a 4-hour pregame show. My pre-show meal is 2 hours before, an hour 6 of my day, hour 7 of my day. I'm crashing. I'll take it. I'll do it.
I couldn't agree more, Rich. Last year was my first little exposure, working with ESPN and doing some of this stuff. And I loved having it with me when I traveled on the set. Exactly. Long. It's hard to eat. But this is so easy to have it in a shaker. And again, for me, all about focus, being able to keep my focus and productivity, not having something to, again, that is sugary, that just kind of feeling the effects of that mentally, So yeah, give it a try. I love it.
Oh,
Obviously,
sure.
I'm loving the partnership with it, with UCAN. They're great people, and again, I think it's kind of a game changer product.
Yeah, I'm in. UCAN.co. I mean, you used it towards the end of your playing career. I guess, having a defender try and come down on you and crash down on you, that's one thing. I just need to be focused to see what Michael Irvin's going to have to say on live television. So I need that help. Before I let you go, Alex Smith, obviously the injury that you suffered, the conversation was about is like similar to what you would have experienced in a car crash. And I don't know how locked in you are on the sports news, but it appears that Tiger Woods just played a practice round at Augusta National yesterday, and it's entirely possible he's going to show up at the Masters next week and give it a try. I wonder what you think of that, Alex.
I think this is absolutely amazing. For me, it's funny. I broke my tib fib just like Tiger, and obviously different circumstances and different, but for anybody that I meet that broke their tib fib, I feel like there is an immediate, or been through something traumatic like this, especially when you're talking, lower legs. I feel like there's an immediate connection. There is, and so for me to follow Tiger's story, I'm a huge golf fan. I'm a huge Tiger fan, and so for him to barely be a little over a year out of the crash and the break, and to hear these whispers, because from what I understood, I had kind of heard, we have some mutual friends.
Yeah.
And I had kind of heard the rumblings that it wasn't looking good for this. That I've been fortunate enough to get to go to Augusta before, and it is incredibly hilly. The walk is hard. And 4 days of it, plus practice rounds, it is demanding. And for Tiger to only be a year out of that kind of trauma to his leg and to be potentially this far along, I just love that we're actually talking about this, Rich. Right. Whether he does it or not, I love that we're having this conversation. I think it's amazing for golf. I think it's an amazing story. Obviously, I think we all know Tiger's work ethic and focus when he puts his mind to it, and clearly, I think, not totally surprised that this is a potential reality when it looked impossible. And wouldn't it be amazing? So who knows? Who knows if it'll actually happen? I certainly hope so. I love that we're actually even talking about this.
Me too.
But it's crazy. I mean, we don't totally know the extent and all the details of, for him, a car crash and a crush injury and what that did to your foot, not just the broken bone, what that did, all the blood flow problems, arterial problems that come with a potential crush injury into his foot and his leg. So, again, amazing news. I love that people are tracking his plane coming into Augusta, and I know he played with his son. And JT, which I think obviously is amazing. I love that he's, enjoying being a dad and can be back playing with his son.
Yeah, you're locked in on it. You're definitely locked in on it. That's exactly what happened yesterday. And again, you make a great point, Alex, that he may not do it next week, but the bottom line is he played a practice round at Augusta National. He got through 18 holes and apparently, did well with it. And I'm assuming playing in Augusta National, that would be similar to what? Carrying Aaron Donald on your back after you get back out there?
Maybe. Again, I just think, and they're very different demands, for him. It's a little more grueling. Like the 4, 5, 6 days in a row out there, it's just such a different demand. And then again, for him to only be 13 months out is crazy. I was almost 2 years. And again, I get to play, for a few hours, and then, I don't play for another week.
Right.
So it's just such different demands. And again, there's so much repetition in what he's doing. But again, it would be amazing if it happened. I love that we're just even having this conversation.
Me too. I still, by the way, I know we haven't spoken since then, and before I let you go, I still can't believe it was Aaron. Of all the players that would wind up on your back, seriously, in your first game back, of all the people, and that you, I think it like you walked him 2 yards on your back like a backpack. I think that's
somehow. I remember I took a couple steps and wisely went down. But yeah, for me it's ironic. J.J. Watt is who kind of hit me when I broke my leg, who was a 3-time defensive MVP player of the year, and my first hit back, almost 2 years later, was the other 3-time defensive MVP, Aaron Donald. So only fitting, changed my life. Aaron Donald, that hit, honestly, you don't know the kind of mental walls you built up and insecurities and self-doubt you build up going through something like that, like thinking that I'll never be able to be the same. I'm fragile. I'll never, I'll never be able to do something like that. And so in a lot of ways it's weird, but thankful for Aaron for helping me shed all of that. I do feel like that was also the big impetus for me retiring, is because I feel free. I feel like there's nothing I can't go figure out that I can do, that I can adapt and find a way. Thankful for Aaron helping me kind of exercise that.
That's why they also call it UCAN, right? UCAN.co. Check
right.
out for more information on that at AlexSmith_11 on Instagram. Let's do this more often. I do miss chatting with you, Alex. I remember talking with you the first time way back when you were in University of Utah getting ready for your first draft. So I'd love to continue doing this years later.
Let's do it. I'm in.
Thanks, Alex. I appreciate it. And, people don't offer me free stuff and don't come through. So I just want to make sure you really meant what you said.
Hold me to it.
Okay, very good. Thanks for the call, Alex. You take care.
All right, buddy.
That's Alex Smith, everybody. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.